Welcome back to the Quiet Millionaire, where we don't chase wealth, we regulate into it. Ever notice how even rest feels like failure? Ever feel like slowing down is more terrifying than burning out? Ever wonder why urgency still runs your mornings, even when you know better? Today, we're not talking mindset. We're addressing what's underneath your money behavior. There's a price we pay for holding our ambition so tightly. A weariness that doesn't just sit in the mind. It sinks into the body. Your ribcage feels tight before you even check your balance. A weight settles behind your eyes, the kind of fatigue that makes screens blurry and voices sound far away. You wake up with a jaw you have to unclench, shoulders already braced as if for a hit that never quite lands. That's the nervous system's version of running, even while you're standing still. The body's cues are quiet, but relentless, a pulse racing as you open your inbox. A stomach nodding with every ATM notification. Hands cold after a conversation about expenses with your partner. Even your breathing grows shallow and clipped. The chest never quite expands all the way. You walk into the next week carrying not just your plans, but the silent tally of what hasn't yet settled. You feel tired in places you can't stretch out or sleep off. Let that land. This is where most people get stuck. They try to outwork it, get ahead, stay sharp, double down, but quiet strivers know there's a contradiction in wanting growth yet feeling unsafe in pursuit. Your hunger for progress and your body's need for ease keep pulling against each other. This isn't theory. This is your nervous system adapting. In these next few minutes, I'll show you that it is possible to feel wealthy now, not because your bank holds more, but because your nervous system stops signaling danger every time you look at your numbers. Money stops being a threat to outrun. It becomes a current you receive. There's nothing to prove. That's the discipline. Here's the sabotage pattern. Somewhere along the line, you started treating yourself like a piece of equipment. Output got tracked. Results became your heartbeat. There's this quiet rule. If you don't earn your rest, you don't deserve it. A day only counts if you move the needle. 9 hours of work and still your body stays keyed up. So you grab the laptop during dinner. Tell yourself you rage just knocking out one more email. You already know this, but let that land. Even so-called wins feel like a setup for tomorrow's checklist. The day closes, yet your mind reviews what got missed. Rest isn't a default. It's a debt to repay. This is the loop. You check Slack while your kid's telling you about their day. Phone is in your hand in the parking lot before you even shift the car out of park. Lunch is something you eat while reading the latest demands, not a real pause. The nervous system never clicks out of gear. Even on a Saturday, you walk past your desk and feel guilty, like the walls themselves are measuring your contribution. Here's what I want you to try. Next time you finish a call, notice your jaw. Are your teeth tight? Is your breath shallow? These are not just random symptoms. This is your body running an old script, one that never got paused long enough to check if you're actually safe. We chase more emails, more output, more meetings. The finish line keeps moving. The system tells you relief is just one more completed project away, but that relief never lands. Every time you check your phone during a friend's story, or skip the walk after lunch so you can just get ahead, you reinforce the code. Presence can wait. Productivity first. The cost? You never really arrive, and the nervous system assumes you're never safe. Now that we see it, let's shift. Most people protect their investments, their bank accounts, their business assets. They watch the numbers, track the risk, guard against loss. But the real asset, the one that carries every decision and builds every result, is your nervous system. That's not just a nice idea. It's a concrete shift. The quiet builder treats their calm, their baseline, as sacred capital. When you sit with a financial statement, your breath tightens. That's not anxiety. That's your nervous system clocking in. If your hands clench the steering wheel after a day of push-pull sales, calls, that's a withdrawal on your balance sheet. This is what most don't see. Your system tracks every pressure, every yes that costs you too much. In this house, the nervous system is CEO. It gets the final say, not the market, not an opportunity waving a bigger check. You learn to pause before saying yes to the high-paying client whose emails tie your gut in knots. You look at your savings as protection for your health, not a scoreboard for competing egos. You already know this. Those who hold their presence never look hurried. They spend calm like principal, never, unless it's an emergency. They let interest accumulate, unhurried, unshaken. That's the discipline. This isn't a fix. It's a frame. Anchor it. When your breath shortens or your body tenses, pause. That's data, not failure. Notice how your pace changes over time. That's how safety returns, quietly, predictably, not overnight. Here's what I want you to try. Check your internal balance sheet tonight. Did you protect your calm as your primary asset, or did urgency spend it for you? You've been taught to treat every moment like a sprint. Most driven people, especially those who've lived with unpredictability, feel urgency as a physical pulse. Miss the moment, risk everything. That is not strategy. That is your nervous system running on survival. Stepping out of urgency doesn't mean you trust the world. It means you begin to trust your own pace. The farmer is not surprised when the field goes quiet in winter. He is not frightened by bare branches. He has seen the whole arc. There is planning, then waiting, tending, sometimes just making sure the fences hold. Harvest comes, but so does rest. Rhythm is the difference between scraping for results and building a legacy. You already know this. What if you measured your progress by the steadiness of your pulse, not the spike of your output? Here's what I want you to try for just 1 week. Track the cadence, not the quantity, of your work, not how much you force, but how consistently you return. One quiet return every day is safer, sturdier, and more valuable than 3 days of frantic hustle. That's the discipline. You don't need crisis to prove you're working. You need rhythm to prove you will last. In nature, look at the tide. It comes in, it goes out. Pattern, precise. No wave is in a hurry. Each follows a map return. Money, too, works in cycles. Cash flows in, ebbs out. Reserves build quietly, and seasons of spending arrive without panic. Deliberate, low-drama planning is trust in the next tide. If your nervous system braces for famine after every quiet month, pause there. Anchor to rhythm. Build capacity, not speed. Let that land. Let's flip this. What if your worth didn't hinge on your next win or your last loss? What if you stopped stacking dollars like proof points in a trial you never agreed to? Most have built a habit of waiting for money to give them permission to rest, to eat, to turn their phone off for 2 straight hours. That isn't discipline. That's running from a verdict you think is always about to land. One that says, without another sale, you're not enough. Anchor this. You're not bought. Your inherent worth was not put on layaway by an old contract, old family story, or market downturn. The man or woman who treats themselves as worthy before the next deal before the next. Deposit moves differently. They negotiate with calm. They let bad offers pass. They can walk away from friction without secretly panicking that they're becoming no one. You already know this. Look at any high earner who's quietly unraveling. They respond to stress by overworking, by jumping into projects they don't want, or by squeezing one more call into an overfull day. That's what happens when you live like your next breath depends on hitting a number. The nervous system never gets the memo that you're allowed to feel okay. That's the discipline. Instead, try this, build worth before wealth, and everything else shifts. When you prep dinner, don't rush. When you finish a long week, invest in a little upgrade that makes you feel cared for. Maybe it's better coffee. Maybe it's walking the long way home. Give yourself enough time with a friend at lunch that you forget to touch your phone. These are acts that train your system. We have enough right now. This isn't a fix, it's a frame. Anchor it once. Repeat when it wobbles. Build capacity, not speed. Here's what I want you to try today. In one decision, big or small, pause before you answer or buy. Ask, if my worth is already settled, what changes? Give it room. Let that land. When you build from enough, you multiply what stays.
Quiet wealth doesn't build itself in a day. This is a system. These 3 shifts you've seen, they're not just a checklist. Together, They're more like the foundation, frame, and wiring of a solid house. Without all three, the structure won't hold. One piece alone can't carry the weight. Most ambitious people try to patch new habits onto old urgency. That's when the structure cracks. Let that land. The first shift. Nervous system is your primary asset. This is not a theory. You protect your own bandwidth before you worry about the next dollar. If your foundation buckles, everything you've stacked on top will go with it. That's the discipline. Second, trade urgency for rhythm. This isn't about working less or pushing the brakes. It's adjusting to a steady pulse, like the regular swing of a clock. No sprint, no crash. You can feel when urgency hijacks your plan. You jump between tasks, check your phone, push your rest. When you notice it, pause there. This isn't punishment. This is maintenance. Third, let worth precede wealth. This means your sense of value comes before the numbers show up. You claim rest. You claim space before any external proof. Most ignore this. They wait to feel calm after a milestone. The game flips when you anchor it first. If this shows up in your week, don't skip it. Anchor it before the world gives you permission. Here's what I want you to try. I protect my capacity before I protect my profit. I build on a steady pulse, not a manic sprint. I am worthy of rest, even as I create. I reclaim discipline as self-stewardship. 1. Choose structure, not scramble. I invest in the quality of my nervous system. I let my worth set the standard. I return to rhythm when I drift. Quiet wealth is built on capacity. Quiet wealth is built on capacity. Quiet wealth is built on capacity.